Hello everyone, and welcome back to NovaLogos Audio English. In our last chapter, we stood on the shore of Galilee and witnessed the restoration of Peter the rock. Today, we meet the man who took that message of restoration and carried it across borders, seas, and cultures. We meet the apostle to the Gentiles, St. Paul. Imagine a man of intense intellect and fierce zeal, originally known as Saul of Tarsus. He was a man who breathed threats against the early church, convinced he was serving God by destroying it. But a single encounter on the road to Damascus blinded his physical eyes, only to open the eyes of his soul. Have you ever experienced a radical shift in your perspective? Have you ever found that your greatest passion was misdirected until a moment of truth set you on a new path? Paul's journey is the ultimate story of transformation. Today, we explore the tireless footsteps of a man who traveled thousands of miles, not for his own glory, but to run the race for the sake of the gospel. Section 1. The Damascus Road, the Great Turn. Paul's ministry didn't start with a gradual realization. It began with a crash. While he was on his way to arrest Christians, a light from heaven flashed around him. In the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 9, verse 4, we hear the question that changed his life. Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? In that moment, Saul realized that in attacking the followers of Jesus, he was attacking Jesus himself. His name remained the same for a time, but his heart was completely rebuilt. This is the mystery of metanoia, a complete change of mind and direction. Paul teaches us that no one is beyond the reach of grace, and our greatest mistakes can become the foundation for our greatest mission. Reflection. Are you running in the wrong direction? Sometimes, God has to stop us in our tracks to show us a higher path. Paul's great turn reminds us that it is never too late to change course. When we surrender our will to the truth, our zeal is not extinguished. It is finally given a purpose that is worthy of our lives. Section 2. The Shadow, the Thorn in the Flesh. Paul's shadow was not just the physical danger he faced, the shipwrecks, the beatings, and the imprisonments. It was also a personal, private struggle. In the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 7, he speaks of a mysterious burden. A thorn in the flesh was given to me to keep me from being too elated. We don't know exactly what this thorn was, but we know it caused him pain and humility. 3 times he asked God to take it away, but the answer was not removal, it was empowerment. The shadow of Paul teaches us that we don't have to be perfectly healthy or problem-free to be used by the divine. In fact, our weaknesses are the very places where God's power becomes most visible, mirroring our lives. We all have a thorn, a recurring struggle, a physical limitation, or a painful memory that won't go away. We often think, I could serve God better if this were gone, but Paul's shadow shows us the opposite. Your thorn is what keeps you grounded and reliant on grace. It is in your vulnerability that the true strength of your message is found. Section 3. The Light, Running a Race. The light of Paul's life is his incredible endurance and his vision of the finished goal. Even from a prison cell in Rome, he looked back on his life, not with regret, but with the satisfaction of a soldier who had held the line. In the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7, he writes his most triumphant light. I have competed well, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. Paul viewed the life of faith as an athletic competition, one that requires discipline, focus, and the willingness to suffer for the prize. His light is the light of perseverance. He didn't just start well, he finished well. He crossed every border and spoke to every person he could, driven by a love that urged him on. His light teaches us that a life lived for others is a race that ends in eternal glory. Light of perseverance. Are you tired of the journey? Paul's light encourages us to keep our eyes on the finish line. The race of faith is not a sprint, it's a marathon of the heart. Every step you take in love, every word of truth you speak, is a step closer to the crown of righteousness. Don't give up. The goal is worth the effort. Section 4. Bridge to the Present. The Global Heart. How can the Apostle to the Gentiles guide us today? 1. Be open to U-turns. Don't be so set in your ways that you can't hear a call to change. Growth often requires a radical shift in direction. 2. Boast in your weakness. Instead of hiding your struggles, let them be the evidence of how God's grace sustains you. 3. Run for a purpose. Don't just be busy. Ensure that your energy and your tireless feet are moving towards something that truly matters, the service of others and the proclamation of truth. Section 5. Language Clinic. Expressing transformation and endurance. 1. To be caught in one's tracks. This describes being stopped suddenly by a realization or an event. Example: I was caught in my tracks when I realized how much my words had hurt her. Spiritual use. It refers to those Damascus moments where the divine interrupts our plans. 2. My grace is sufficient for you. This is a profound way to say, what I give you is enough. Sufficiency in this context means all that is needed for the task. Spiritual use. It's a reminder that we don't need extra worldly resources if we have divine support. 3. I have kept the faith. This means to remain loyal to one's beliefs despite long-term challenges. Example: through all the setbacks in his career, he kept the faith in his vision. Spiritual use. It implies a lifelong commitment, not just a temporary feeling. Consolidation and review. Key phrases for your journey. 1. Why are you persecuting me? A concise English explanation. This question highlights the deep connection between the Creator and His people. It teaches that what is done to the least is done to the divine. 2. A thorn in the flesh. This metaphor provides an English explanation for a persistent personal struggle. It represents a challenge that keeps a person humble and dependent on a higher power. 3. My grace is sufficient for you offers an English explanation for divine adequacy. It means that God's strength is most perfectly displayed in human weakness. 4. I have finished the race. This phrase provides an English explanation for spiritual completion. It describes the satisfaction of a life fully spent in the service of a noble cause. 5. The love of Christ impels us. This offers an English explanation for divine motivation. It describes the inner drive that makes a person tireless in their efforts to do good. 6. To be all things to all people provides an English explanation for cultural adaptability. It means the willingness to adapt one's approach to reach and serve others, regardless of their background. Closing, the race continues. Thank you for joining us for Chapter 19. Paul reminds us that our past does not dictate our future, and our weaknesses do not limit our impact. If you are willing to run, God will provide the path. In Chapter 20, our final chapter of Series 3, we will meet John the Apostle, the beloved disciple. We will transition from the tireless feet of Paul to the resting heart of John, exploring what it means to be a witness to the glory of the kingdom. If the journey of Paul has inspired you to keep running, please like this video and subscribe to NovaLogos Audio English. Your support helps us carry these stories across every border. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss our grand finale with John the Apostle. Until we meet again, keep the faith and run well. Goodbye.